book has been like, Meredith, I don't think I've thanked you, or maybe I have, but I've forgotten. But I'm so thankful that you brought it forward, because anger is an emotion that I have not trained myself or allowed myself to get close to in way too many years. And this has been the way white fragility was a great place to start as white women learning about anti-racism work. This book was amazing at helping me get close to an emotion that I kept verbally saying I want to become more familiar with within myself, because it's not healthy to not express anger. Like, that's just part of life. And it like gave me like this safe way of being able to get closer to it. It was so helpful. And being able to see how closely related it is to the expression of a need. It was like such a beautiful book for me. I had no idea that needs and the emotion of anger were so intertwined, and it's been a tremendous like gift in my life. Like, I really feel like I'm growing into the human I want to be as a result.
Can't wait till Kara starts screaming, everybody.
I know.
By the end of this book
it'll be non-violent.
No, I don't know. If you open those doors,
she might not go to the obnoxious stage with the anger.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, thank you for
Wow.
expressing your anger again, Kara.
Again.
I'm hearing you. I'm listening. I need emotional safety though. So
Kara, do you ever scream? Have you ever? Would you just scream?
Inappropriate times, like just before we logged in and Meredith sent the ladies, are you coming? Like, I'm full. So if it's an inanimate object, I lose my fucking shit.
So do I, actually.
So it's like I stockpile it, or the other place I discovered is when I'm driving. Road rage, that is the only place that I don't blame myself first. I always blame the other. So it comes out, it mostly comes out when others aren't around, and I can scream at or do a release at an object that doesn't have feelings, because I feel too much what the other person does. And so it makes it really hard then to get freaking angry. And then there's been like the odd time. I'm just like my dad. I can maybe recall like half a dozen times maybe that my dad truly was angry. And same with me. Like, the girls could maybe 2 times. And when it did,
that guy's angry.
It is extra.
For real all the time. He just
It's
doesn't let it
sure.
out. Yeah. I think everybody's angry a lot of the time. Not everybody's saying it out loud.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for those quiet ones.
There's a
Quiet.
perception
yeah.
that
I was
it's
actually,
wrong,
I was
right?
saying
Like-
that to my husband recently, because I was trying to, during Ramadan, I was trying to like clean the backyard or something, and I was frustrated with myself because I didn't have energy and whatever. And he said something about me being angry with cleaning, and I was like, I wasn't angry, I was just focused. And I was like, I was just frustrated trying to get it done. Like, I wasn't mad at anybody. And he's like, oh, but it seemed like you're mad. I'm like, if I was mad, I'd be mumbling under my breath.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That's what I'm like.
You totally do that.
Like, I'm not saying anything that anyone could verbally hear, but I'm like blurting out little like, oh, and I would be like Kara, doing something not where there's someone I'm interacting with. So if I'm angry, like, and I was cleaning up the backyard, I'd be mumbling under my breath and yelling at the toys that are everywhere or whatever. Like, I wouldn't be yelling at a person. At this instance, I wasn't. I was like, I wasn't mumbling under my breath. Just, you have to listen.
But I
to
also
it.
think that there should be a takeaway that there's no one way to express anger that's correct.
Right.
There's
Oh.
the obvious
Good one.
ways that not everybody loves. Like earlier in this, I guess our last group chat, it was like, not everybody's processing emotions at my fucking rapid fire state. Lots of people have to sit with things. And like, maybe it's healthier to sit with an issue, mumble under your breath, and attack a plant later.
Right.
Like, that's
I've done that.
just
Grass,
valid as
flipping
like
grass.
recognizing, yeah,
You
what's
see like
going on
glass
with you
clippings
and letting it
going
out.
Ripping
Yeah.
newspapers.
I think there is different ways to express anger. I agree.
I really like
it's
the
not-
anger
Yeah.
part too. Just like, also there's this perception that anger is wrong. If you're angry, you're wrong. And it's not that, right? So it's nice that it's like, anger is a wake-up call that you need to listen to yourself and figure out what you need, which is, I like that idea better as anger as a wake up call and not anger as a character flaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole
It's a
period thing. It's giving
signifier.
you feedback, right? Your period
Tony
is giving
Robbins
you feedback.
says that, doesn't
Angry
he?
is giving you feedback.
Good one.
Oh,
yeah,
that's true.
Sarah,
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
think-
And I think also Glennon Doyle mentioned like the gifts that come to the door, right? Like you have to understand it's telling you something. Exactly like you said, it's feedback. And everything is like, okay, guilt. Okay, so I didn't, live up to what I want to live up to. That's why I feel guilt. Anger, somebody's infringing on my boundaries. Like, you know what I mean? Like each emotion is telling you something. It's not a character flaw at all.
It's true. I think sometimes anger gets a really bad rap because it's tied in with abuse sometimes, because the way that some people express their anger can be very violent, physically or emotionally or whatever. And since we all want to be, it's like that, like Kara was saying, the use of the word abuser, because there's this association between the two things, none of us want to be bad, like it's a binary again. And whereas sad people sometimes like, why am I sad? I shouldn't be sad. That's one thing, but people don't look at somebody who's sad as being bad, right? So there's the negative emotions that we say are bad emotions or whatever, and they're just emotions, but some of them are viewed worse than others, I
They're
guess.
just less
like
accepted.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, less accepted. That's exactly what it is, Kim.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah, less accepted anger for sure.
Book interrupted.
This interruption is brought to you by my other shift work. So after completing the one job, then coming home to the disaster and having to talk to staff at home about their care of certain things around the workplace and their blatant disregard for team effort on keeping things tidy. We have here food just left. That's actually a pretty good example. It was worse. And things randomly, essential oils, scissors, mixed with old bologna, not to forget, of course, other things just left out randomly. So I'm just about to officially clock in for this other job that I hold down, this other shift work. So I just thought I'd share that lovely interruption. I will be speaking to the union rep.
Book interrupted.
When they're saying the steps to expressing anger. And I really appreciated that even in that, and then when he talks about empathy, the first one in both of them is stop and breathe. And I think that all of us, when we're about to express some kind of emotion or when we're empathizing or with anything, just taking that moment to just stop and take a breath and then release what and think about things, I think helps not become abusive or not, take it out on somebody for a bad reason. Breathing
to not be so reactionary, but to maybe ignite the potential for choice.
The worst is when you're really angry. Sometimes when I'm really angry and I'm like, I need to stop myself because I'm spiraling into this big anger. Part of me just wants to go through it. Sometimes I just want to be angry and I want to release all this stuff and let it out. And I think that's really hard. That's why the stop and breathe is so important, because there's that moment where you're like, I could stop and breathe, or I can, I don't know, again,
turn into a werewolf.
Or rip up the grass or whatever. I don't know, whatever you do when you're feeling very frustrated.
It helps yourself, because it's that biology, right? Like, if you have those feelings, you set off your response, whatever that response is, right? Fight, flight, whatever, like your threat response. So by breathing, you tell your brain there is no threat here. And I would even wager that when you're angry and you feel like you want to go through it, you might be having a fight response,
Oh, I'm totally a fighter.
So creating that space, it tricks your brain back down, and then your body goes back down, and then you're able to interpret like, oh, okay. Like sometimes
It's a good point, your fight or flight, because sometimes I'm like super angry and I feel that like I want to go through the fight and I like stop myself. I'm like, nope, I'm going to flight. I'll like remove myself so that I can bring it back down, right? It's like,
so I can go have some breaths.
I need a flight. I'm like, I'm going to go somewhere or walk. If someone's home, I'm like, I'm going for a walk. That doesn't happen a lot these days, but one day I can leave my kids home alone. And
I would argue that I think you should allow your body to do the full cycle, but like what you were saying, Meredith, is that you are recognizing that there is a danger potential in your fight response. So if you can still stay triggered, but tip over into another form of response, I would say let the thing run its course. Sometimes I think it's not healthy for humans and does cause problems within the mind when we don't allow the full cycle of an emotional response to play out. The trick is, if you're seeing red,
at people while driving.
Yeah, exactly. The trick is like, how do you get, because you do, like even me who rarely expresses anger, when I'm in it, it feels good to keep it going. So it's really hard to allow the cycle to play out, but just in a different way.
Yeah, I like the nonviolent screaming. Sometimes that's like a good way to let it out, right? That's when
Kara, you dance a lot. And that I think
sure do.
You dance it out, which is like adorable and delightful.
I love that so much.
I love that. Like, I want to see an angry dance, though.
Are you looking like really angry when you do it?
No, she's looking like overjoyed, like.
I don't know, it's just a safe way, because I look at dance is the movement of emotion. You're telling a story that's mostly emotional based, but you're using the body to express it. So for me, it's a very safe way to express all forms of emotion, because apparently
I want to see an angry dance.
I've trained myself.
Yeah.
It could be like flash dance. She was like getting it out.
I love.
She was
like
getting
my most
it
favorite.
out. She was frustrated.
It's amazing when you do it, and it's so good. The body loves it. Oftentimes we, I think, try to approach like healing ourselves or getting to a better place. We try to go from the head down. I think maybe go from the body up. Like get that shit fucking, like tense those muscles, don't interrupt the cycle. Let it play out. And then I don't think you're left with as much baggage on the inside.
I think it depends on
I like
where
moving too. Like I go for a brisk walk. When I had the dog, I go for like a brisk walk with the dog or whatever. But just like get moving,
I think it depends on where your cycle comes from. If you're having like a normal response and a normal reaction, then by all means let your body continue on in that way. But if you come from like a trauma background, and so your trigger, like you're hypersensitive, and so you become triggered in cases where you're not actually in a threat, that's the one that needs to be interrupted, so you can retrain your body what an actual threat is versus the hypersensitive.
Very great distinction. Yeah, because you're, from a neuroscience perspective, your mind is used to going down that train track, and you don't want to keep continuing, or else it will get deeper and deeper. You do want to, in that case, try to interrupt it so that you can go over to a new track.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that to end the nonviolent communication, we should all dance it out.
Okay.
What do we think?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, everyone's going to do it, so I'll do it, but I don't like it.
Come on.
In our chair?
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chairs?
No,
We've got music.
I have something else to say, though. Oh,
Does
someone
dance
else, and then I have something to say?
Oh.
Okay, say it first, and then we'll dance it out.
I just want to say the one thing about like thanking somebody. Now obviously you can't do this every time. Sometimes you can just say thank you to somebody, but like his process for like giving a really thought out thank you to show gratitude to somebody, I really like that too, because if you really want to show somebody you're grateful, being specific and telling that person how they affected you like in a positive way, I really like that. I don't use it every time, but sometimes I use it when I really want to show somebody that I'm grateful for something they did. Anyway, I really like that part. I think that's a good takeaway too.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, being really, you're too vague. Being like, but what are you? Yeah, like, why are you thankful to that person? Why do you feel grateful for them? Yeah, it's
and then
good.
I can and that person, because that person probably did the thing they are doing because they're looking. Maybe part of it is meaning for them. They want meaning in their life, and when you say, "Hey, what you did gave meaning to me," that's a nice. That's a little gift.
Also, the end of the book made me cry when he told his uncle. And the uncle's like, read me that poem every day before he died. I was like, bawling my eyes out.
Why did you have to bring that up?
Anyway,
Well, that is
it's
the
lovely.
grandma says, never walk when you can dance. That's
Oh,
what I
great ending! Never walk when you can dance. Woohoo! Who's gonna put music on? Does anyone have music?
I have music.
Good.
Oh, Leah.
Do it.
This is too hard.
Nonviolent.
Meredith is gonna do it. Leah.
Subscribers. But try this Spotify guys station.
Do you guys have a?
Okay, wait. I got it.
Oh,
Okay, can you hear this?
No.
Fuck.
what song do you guys want?
Oh my God, I just found CNC Music Factory.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
good.
No, I don't want to. I don't want. No.
You don't want to do CNC Music Factory?
Yeah, let's do it.
Why?
Talking
That's
about.
great. Everybody dance.
We love it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got CNC?
there we go.
I don't know if I want this on the internet.
When did this shit come out? Was it like the 90s?
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, it's so good.
So your mom's thing. The hitchhiker. This is my mom's dance.
No, I hate your mom dance. No.
Except she goes like this.
Okay, there we go.
Thank
Never
God.
walk when you can dance.
I love it. When COVID
just
is
smacked
done, can we somehow facilitate just going out and doing silly dancing?
I love
Yes.
dancing.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll add that to
Okay.
the tampon Halloween party.
Okay, great. Amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
like,
you,
I
Sarah.
like the name of that. So
See, that's
everybody
the
has to
same
come dressed as a
party.
tampon then, not just us. Tampons only.
Oh,
Tampon only dance party.
Oh my God.
I'll set it
I
up.
want to go with Nick's underwear, please.
If you've enjoyed these video highlights, listen to the full episode on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to like and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when new episodes are published. Find out more by going to www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book Interrupted.